Hogan may have been in your orbit. I could have this wrong, but he worked with Andre at the Superdome in '81. Now, at the time, I think you were working with Leroy McGurk in Oklahoma.
Right.
But was there any chance that you ran into Hogan before that, or when would have been your first time or working or meeting Hulk Hogan?
I was trying to think of that, and it's hard to ascertain. It's been so many years and so many experiences have come and gone. I don't think that was in '81. I don't think so. I don't think I met him in '81. When did I meet him? I'm just trying to think, Conrad, when I met the guy for the first time. Uh, I always thought he was a little, he was very protective. He didn't know me, so he was not open. He wasn't totally honest about things simply because that was just the nature of his personality. So, but you're right. His that issue with Hogan was not uncommon with top stars. Somebody told me one time this wrestler had rather make $200 a week with it and be a champion as to be making 2 grand a week and not be the champion. I don't know. That might be a little extreme illustration, but there is some truth to that. A lot of guys are just more impressed with the hardware that they pack and carry around than the actual dollars. Now that's not all. That's changed a lot because you hear what money some guys are making. It used to be a huge deal when you had a wrestler that made $1 million.
Yeah.
Now it's everyday occurrence. I dread to think how many millionaires that are being guaranteed the $1 million and more, oftentimes much more than we have today. The system's changed. The price of groceries just went up, type thing. You still got to eat. You still got to cook. You still got to create your menu. But it's unique, the situation. And then now that money, if I used to do, as you know, and our audience knows, I used to do the payroll. It was and a lot of it just was discretionary. So, but the guy that made the most money working for me was Austin, and that's kind of what I judge greatness on in pro wrestling is tickets sold, merchandise sold, revenue generated. And my personal experience in that world was primarily with Stone Cold and Rock, same deal. So I don't know, man. It's just he was a challenge to deal with, and I wish it hadn't have been that way. I've had several conversations with him that were very pleasant. Uh, no agendas, but then there are a lot of times when you think something should be an issue became an issue, and that gets to be very frustrating, Connie.
I do want to ask you. You said that where I know we're bouncing all over the place, but I've been thinking about it since you said it. That getting the belt off of Hulk in '93 was a pain in the ass. I think most fans listening to this know what you're referencing. We're talking about WrestleMania 9. That would have been your debut call for the WWF. It's also when Hulk Hogan wins the world title sort of unexpectedly. The main event was Bret Hart and Yokozuna. Yoko wins, but he cheated. And somehow, a few seconds later, Hulk Hogan is the champ. And I think most fans have heard the story that allegedly there were photos taken with Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan almost playing tug of war with the world title. They were, in theory, going to wrestle at SummerSlam. It never happened. Hogan dropped the belt to Yokozuna at King of the Ring, and he did it in pretty devastating fashion. I mean, granted, there was a distraction, but still, they left him laying after the big bonsai drop. And then they did those return matches all over Europe. But Hogan was finishing up, and he was going to go try to be a TV star with Thunder in Paradise. What do you remember about that time and the back and forth with Hogan and Yoko and Bret? Oh my!
Well, lucky for me, Vince handled most of that. Vince was, and that's a blessing and a curse, because if you set that precedent, then there's only one person that can solve a problem having to do with your biggest star, and that's hard. That's challenging business, shall we say? So I like I said, I wish it had been different. It would have been a much more enjoyable business relationship, because he and I never had a personal relationship. We he came up in a territories, as did I, but different territories, and different roles. So the table was set wrong to manage him, and that's not his fault. I mean, if it gave him a little leg up and it made him comfortable, then have at it. But boy, for the rest of us, it could become, and did at times, a giant pain in the ass.
We got to talk about the first time that Hogan really made headlines inside the business. That probably would have been his appearance on the movie Rocky 3. And of course, we know famously that's also the episode of Rocky where we learn about Clubber Lang and we see Mr. T. And obviously, they're going to parlay that into a lot of success with WrestleMania. When you saw a professional wrestler given the spotlight like he got in Rocky, did you think that could be a springboard to something else, or did it just feel like a cameo and that may be the end of it?
I thought that it opened the door for Hogan, and it opened the door for pro wrestling in a lot of ways. It just did, because it created an awareness, product awareness. High tides raise all ships, shall we say, and that's what happened. Hogan became famous after that, all that exposure, and became topical. He was smart. He created a need to see him more, and with that came more money, and then that becomes an issue. And then guys are just careful about if they win, if they lose. I've always thought that was overblown. I really did. I always thought the performance was more important than the outcome. And I might be wrong about that. It wasn't me that was having to have it done or doing it, but it was, I don't know. But the Rocky movie opened the door for him. And I thought that was a big difference maker for the business in general. It created an awareness for wrestling. And you can't hand that compliment to anybody but Hulk.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.